Well, tonight, President Biden will give his first State of the Union address, and Illinois' congressional delegation will be in the audience.
WGN political reporter Tamon Bradley here with more on what they expect to hear on everything from Ukraine to inflation.
Micah and Ray, good evening. Only 200 people were allowed inside the House chamber last year during President Biden's first address to Congress. This year, far more lawmakers will be on hand as Mr. Biden pitches his foreign and domestic agenda. Lagging in polls, President Biden is set to address the nation during a pivotal moment at home and abroad. Earlier today, the president spoke by phone with the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, who is in a desperate fight to defend his country against a Russian invasion. The White House says during the primetime address, Mr. Biden will speak to the importance of the U.S. standing up for global norms and taking on Vladimir Putin. According to speech excerpts, President Biden will say Putin's war was premeditated and unprovoked. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond, and he thought he could divide us here at home. Putin was wrong. We are ready.
This is time for Americans to gather around our own flagpole and say that we are there in unity with our allies.
But many Republicans are skeptical of how President Biden has managed the crisis.
One of the most important messages I hope to hear from the president tonight is that we as America are going to begin supplying our ally, the Ukrainian government, with the weaponry they need to fight back against President Putin's aggression.
On the domestic front, the president will talk about his efforts to control the pandemic. He'll also celebrate his proposals that are now law.
We passed a Recovery Act. We passed an infrastructure bill, the largest in our nation's history, on a bipartisan basis.
As for his new agenda, the president will call on Congress to increase the maximum Pell Grant award by $2,000, raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, and create a national paid family leave program. With prices of goods soaring to record highs, the president will lay out a plan to bring down inflation.
The country is eager to hear what steps he will take to protect people against the rise of prices and inflation.
Due to COVID protocols, guests of members of Congress will join the speech virtually. 15-year-old Vinya Sharma, a young environmental activist from Palatine, was invited by Representative Sean Casten.
I want to hear about some actions and legislations that are kind of in the works to help lower income communities and those that are really vulnerable to environmental struggles.
And we'll see what the president has to say about climate change. We do know, according to the White House, that Mr. Biden will push for confirmation of his Supreme Court nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Providing the GOP response to the president tonight, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds. Ray and Micah.
Second year in office, but his first official State of the Union. We'll have all the reaction tonight. Appreciate
here
it.
For it.
Yep. And WGN special coverage of President Biden's first State of the Union will start at 8 o'clock. We'll have his speech in its entirety as well as the Republican response, followed then by the WGN News at 9 and 10.